Welcome everyone. This is HeatherAsh Amara, and I'm joined here by many people that are on the stream with me that I'll introduce in a second or bring up in a second. We are joining together to honor Heather Lorah, and I know many of you have been deeply touched by her. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes and let people come on to the broadcast. We're broadcasting right now on 2 different Facebook pages and YouTube. So we're broadcasting on Warrior Goddess Women group, we're broadcasting on the HeatherAsh Amara page, and we're broadcasting on YouTube as well. So welcome to everybody that's here. We'd love it if you'll take a moment to share your name and where you're tuning in from as we get started. So because we're using a different, hello, Afuk from Turkey, hey Laura, sometimes we can't see your name. Sometimes we can. So welcome to everybody that's joining. And in a moment, I want to introduce you or share with you the people that are on the stream that are going to be sharing as well. Hey, Noelle. Hey, Dee. And hey, Valerie. Glad you could join us. Hey, Leah. Great. Robin. Astarte. Hey, Astarte. Welcome. Good. Hey, Kirsten. Good. Talisha. Hey, Astrid. Beautiful. Hey, Susan. Welcome, everybody. So if you have a candle, hey, Tanya, if you have a candle and it's easy access and you want to go grab it, we're going to together light a candle for Heather in the very beginning. So if you have an easy access candle, go grab it. If not, I have a candle lit for all of you already. Hey, Megan. Hey, Nancy. Welcome. Hey, Linda. Hi, Diane. Welcome. So in a moment, we're going to light our candles together. Good. Hey, Mama. Sarah from East Tennessee. Hey, Sarah. Welcome. Great. Thank you, Sarina. So Sarina just shared the obituary for Heather. And for those of you that are just joining us, we're gathering together, hey Elizabeth, to host a memorial service for Heather Lorah, who died August 5th. And there's gonna be lots of tears, so make sure you've got Kleenex nearby. And I'm gonna bring on all of the beloveds that are here with us today. Hey, Bethany. So everyone will be sharing a little bit on the memorial, and bye-bye, bye-bye. So I can't ban myself. Okay. So we'll do a little introduction in a minute, and then we're going to bring each of these beings in to share their heart and their story about Heather. And if any of you want to share something on the chat, please feel free and we can read that as well. So let's call in sacred space together. So let's call in the elements, calling in air and fire and water and earth to hold this virtual circle as we honor Heather Lorah. And we light our candle specifically to honor her fire and her love of fire, her amazing connection to the fire, to the heart, to love. So let's light our candles together to consecrate this space, to connect us through the fire. And for those of you that are watching from home, if you have a candle that you want to light, please do. Hey, Christy. Hey, T. Hey, Jamie. Welcome. Hey, Leanne. Welcome. Beautiful. All right, sweet ones. So I want to invite everyone to close your eyes for a moment. and to think about an interaction that you had with Heather, which may have been a couple months ago, it may have been years ago, it may have been online, it may have been a long, deep relationship. Pick one moment where you felt a deep heart connection, where you felt laughter, where you felt joy in a connection to Heather. And as we join together from all over the world to honor our beloved and our sister Heather, let's start by calling in the light that she was, by really feeling the impact that she had in your life. And that we come together in gratitude for Heather and all she shared with each of us, and all she will continue to share. And to let there be space in your heart for both the love and the grief, for the loss of this beautiful angel from our physical lives, but also the blessing that she was a part of our lives and that she will continue to be a part of our lives on the spiritual realm, that she continues to guide and be part of our world forever. And so open your heart to hold both that loss, the grief, and also the beauty. And that's what we celebrate today, is both the beauty of this woman and the impact she's had on our life, as well as the grief and the sorrow. And they're not exclusive. We can hold them both. Beautiful. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thanks everyone for joining us. And we've heard, so many in comments from people that barely knew Heather, that felt deeply, deeply impacted by her, from people that have known her for years and years, and how magical she was in our lives. And as we honor Heather in all the different ways that we will today, I'll just say from the beginning, this memorial could never be as beautiful as Heather would craft it, because that was one of her incredible over-the-top gifts, was creating beauty. And I shared this story with some of you that a little bit after I learned about her passing, Sarina and Tanya was there, and I went up, and forgive me, there's somebody else. We went up to and created a memorial site. It was a really beautiful rock statue, that pile that had been there for a long time. And we brought candles and flowers. And a few days later, I went to check on it, and I heard Heather's voice, and her voice was like, "You better make sure this stays beautiful." And I'm like, "I know I will." And so I brought flowers. And today I went up to decorate it, and we'll share photos of it later. I went up to decorate it and brought armfuls of flowers up there, and felt Heather with me. I'm like, "All right, sweetheart, I know I would never make this as beautiful as you would make it, but you got to help me." And so I just want us to honor that any time that we create beauty, that you call Heather in, because that was one of her just joys in life, was creating and being in service, creating beauty everywhere she went, bringing light, bringing love, bringing food, bringing flowers. And there was nothing that was too much. There was always abundance around Heather in that way. And that's one way that we can always honor her and bring her in, is whenever we create beauty, to invite her in to be part of that beauty and to ask her to help with the creation of beauty, not just physical, but also I think that was one of her gifts as well, was her capacity in the hard times to also bring beauty. She was going through a lot with her body the last several years that I knew her. And actually much of the time that I knew her. And yet most people didn't know the struggles that she had with her physical body, because she navigated it. She held it, and her will was incredible. She had an incredibly strong will and a lot of power that she brought everywhere, that if you didn't know her, you didn't see it in the beginning, right? Heather was this very sweet presenting being that was very soft on the outside. But anybody that knew her for more than 2 minutes knew that that was only a tiny part of who she was. That woman was powerful, very, very powerful, incredibly strong, incredibly dedicated, huge will, a lot of fire. And so I hope today, as you hear the stories and the shares from the different beloveds that volunteered to share, and I know there were many of you that wanted to share as well, feel free to share any stories that you have in the chat, and we're happy to read them. And yeah, I wish we could be all together. And I'm going to do a visualization at the very end to bring us together. Yeah, definitely all of her cooking skill as well, the beauty that she created with food. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in our first being. So adding Sarina. Hey, sweetheart. All right.
Thank you, HeatherAsh. So I avoided writing what I was going to say for much of the last several weeks. And then finally sat down and broke open, which is something Heather and I did often together. And so I want to share some of the medicine and some of the light that Heather shared with me. We often called each other's ripe fruit because there were lots of areas where we essentially balanced each other out, where we were struggling with what the other was doing really well in. And there were many a conversation where I would be calling her in between clients and, venting about something or struggling with my food or something like that. And she would listen and she'd say, well, honey, and then she'd dive into whatever Ayurvedic recipe she had or essential oil that she knew would support me through that. And one of the gifts of being able to be in community with her, especially in a lot of the deep rituals that we did together, was her gift of being able to play with me and us to play with each other at our edges, to find those places where you knew exactly where to push and you knew exactly how much to push to get that cracked open place. The yolk, I believe, that Sarah Marshank talks about. And there would be this place where the yolk would come out, and sometimes it would be explosive, and we would sit in that together. And other times it would be sweet and gentle and tender. And so we didn't get along at first. And there was a lot of fierceness, I think, and armoring that happened between us. But over the last year and a half, as her mother was dying and my mom was dying and Tara's mom was dying, the three of us got incredibly close. And in that, I found this really deep place with her around being playful when shit was hard and being able to soften when we wanted to be fiercer than ever. And just those places of being really present to lean into that mystery. She was such a great fucking cheerleader. Like, whenever we would start on our experiments together, we'd text each other or call each other, and there would be this like giddiness that we would get together whenever one of us like reached a goal or made it through the day without, falling off the wagon that we were on at the time, whatever that one was, whether it was gossip or the latest meal plan we were on, whatever yoga classes we had signed up for. Like, there was this place of really being willing to be there and cheerlead and celebrate the hell out of something. And yeah, there was just this way about us that I love and I miss. I put on some of our favorite shows. Hell, I put on shows that like I didn't even watch, but I know she watched and she wanted me to watch, just so I can feel that connection to her. To feel like we're sitting down and, eating popcorn while watching something together and having that experience, and then talking aloud to her about it. And she had this gift of directness that is very difficult for me to find in others, that was really refreshing. And I already miss that a lot. And she's still direct from the other side, but it's a little different. And, we planned this Ignite weekend together, and we got to see it right before COVID-19 hit, come into fruition. And we had such beautiful ceremonies there together. And if it was one thing that she was really ripe around that I was working on, that we were working on together for me to get there, it was around how big and beautiful and magnificent she makes everything. Because I'm just trying to like be practical and get it done. And she was like, no, but the Venus in my chart, everything has to be beautiful. It has to be like radiant. And so, I would begrudgingly agree while digging my heels in, and be like, okay, whatever. And there was just this place of having that experience where we could be in it together and we could co-create in this phenomenal way these extraordinary things. And so I think she left so many gifts for us, and I can see them in the conversations I've had with people, in the emails and texts and things that I've received from folks. And I know that her power and her gifts are still there. They're living through each of us. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that shows up for each of us. And so I want to end with a quote. It's actually a lyric from a song. And yeah, so do you ever dream or reminisce, wondering where to find what you truly miss? Well, maybe all those things that you love so are waiting in the place where the lost things go. It's by Mary Poppins for Mary Poppins Returns. And we spent many an hour singing and talking about the creativity and the wonder and the play in that, and how often we forget as humans, especially as adults. And so often how, as children, many people who've had really hard childhoods didn't get to experience that either. And so maybe they find it in their adulthood. So thank you, everyone. And yeah.
Thank you, Sarina. So beautiful. And I just want to share, because your relationship with Heather was one of the biggest gifts for me, because my prayer with the Warrior Goddess community and with our community is that we'll learn to really deeply love each other, even if we don't like each other all the time. And so to have witnessed the whole gamut of you and Heather not liking each other, like really not liking each other, and both of you coming to me separately, like, I just don't like her. Like, and me saying, that's fine, talk to each other, like, go in with each other, figure out what's going on. And you did, which is so rare. And that you were willing to go in with each other and stay with the discomfort says so much about both of you. And then to see it blossom into this such a deep friendship. And so I really want to mark that for all of us. Like, please don't think just because you don't get along with someone in the very beginning that it means anything. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you, HeatherAsh.
Yeah. All right. Deirdre. There we go, sweetheart. Hi.
There we go. Wow, that was beautiful, Sarina. Well, so when I have a sort of a newer relationship with Heather. I joined the Warrior Goddess community about 2 years ago. And really, over the last year was really when my relationship, friendship, and sisterhood with Heather was solidified and deepened. And you know, when I think of Heather, I just think of words like shimmering and radiant and fierce and playful and an ally and a sister. You know, a lot has been talked about with this gift that she had for creating beauty, and it truly was a gift. And her ability to, you know, as was also discussed, like this ability to go above and beyond any expectation that anyone would have of anything that she signed up for. And it always blew me away. And I, back in January, when HeatherAsh had her Warrior Heart practice book launch in New York, Beaux and I went up to New York to help Heather and Heather Lorah sort of support the event. And Heather Lorah's like, well, I have a couple things in my hotel room that would you guys mind coming, and we can take them to the venue, right? So Beaux and I get to the hotel room, and it was like a walk-in refrigerator / supply closet. I have never seen so many things in one hotel room in my life. I mean, there were flowers and chocolate and cutting boards and vases and I mean, you name it, it was there. And she just had suitcase upon suitcase of things that she had brought from home in Pittsburgh to make this event as magical and as beautiful as she could. So I just love that about her. But what I learned, I guess what I saw all along, but I really learned over that weekend was that her ability to create beauty and to go above and beyond was how she loved. One of the many ways that she loved. She also, I felt loved by her. I think about how I felt in her presence, how I always felt seen and heard and held and loved unconditionally. She never judged anything and was just always there to listen and support. And fortunately, I was able to be that friend to her too. She also she got into my soul. Her beautiful spirit it awakened something in me. Maybe it was the way I used to watch her float as she walked. How she always had a flowing skirt and a billowing shirt, and she just glistened. And also when she giggled, I would listen to her giggle, and sometimes it was like very innocent, and other times it was very mischievous. And I always wanted to find out what the mischievous one was. But it was always kind and always loving and always from a good place, those giggles. I also loved how she had knowledge on so many subjects. And I always appreciated different types of wisdom she would share with me. And sometimes it was just fun little tidbits that I think only Heather Lorah could share with me. Like we were in San Antonio for the trainings back in March, and she had picked me up at the airport, and we had to stop by Costco to get some things for the house. And she gave me a lesson on how to push the cart in Costco. Because apparently if you have a Fitbit and you push the cart forward, it does not track your steps. But if you pull the cart behind you, you can track your steps properly. So I learned that. Those were the fun things, right? She was playful and childlike, but a woman and a goddess and a warrior and all those things. And I think one of the things that I loved the most about her, aside from her ability to create beauty in everything she did, was the depth of her heart. The depth of her heart. I witnessed it over and over, not just for myself personally, but how she interacted with people, whether it was in Teotihuacan or whether it was on the land, the Warrior Heart Ranch, when we had our leadership team, when we had the trainings in San Antonio. Like her ability to connect with people and on a level that they really understood, that it meant something to them. And I hope that I can take those things that I have seen in her and bring them through and allow them to live on through me, in my way, of course. And nobody could be Heather. And what else would I want to say? Just that I love her. I will continue to love her. I'm grateful that I met her. and that she is and always will be a part of my life. And I'm just really grateful that I got to know her. I love you, Heather. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Deirdre. I do have such a vision of you all coming in to the New York book signing with, like, we just have a few things. And that was always what Heather said, right? We just have a couple things. There's suitcases, there's platter. I mean, it was impeccable, beautiful. I remember afterwards she pulled me aside and she said, "You've probably never seen this side of me, but I wanted to share. I wanted to share how much I love you and how much I love doing this."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Magnificent.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that there's so many things, but I'll share it now so I don't forget. But we had with the team in San Antonio this gathering for, we said we made a fake Christmas. And anyway, Heather and I had a conversation a while after that, and really deep conversation. And she said, you know, Christmas has traditionally been hard for me because I love creating the beauty and people don't get it. And I was like, sweetheart, we're going to do Christmas together your way and we'll all come. And I'm sorry we never got to experience that with her, but we'll have a beautiful Christmas at some point to honor her. Mm-hmm. That's my dream. Thanks, Deirdre, so much. Such beautiful stories. Okay. Mishawn. See if I can unmute your mic, sweetie. Okay, perfect.
Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will forsake you. So I was blessed to meet Heather in 2017. And as I said that and wrote it out for today, it was really hard for me to believe it had been such a short period of time, because I just really feel like there's a lifetime of knowing her that has occurred in that 3 years, in this really short period of time that we had together on the planet. So 2017 was my first year assisting with Firewalk instructor training, and it was the year Heather attended and graduated Firewalk instructor training. So I was walking my own edges assisting, and anyone who's attending Firewalk instructor training in general is walking their own edges. So one of the first experiences that I really had with her wasn't so much around the fire, which will come here in a minute, but she was challenged by a personality there. And in her coming to me and consulting me about that personality, she actually did me the favor of inspiring me to be a better leader, and how to walk that line and to play with that edge. And I remember talking to her after the fact. She came to me, months later after graduation, and really kind of was like, what did you expect me to do with that advice? And we had a great laugh about it. It was good. We never know how encounters in our life will transpire. The angel of death blessed me with 3 years of a relationship that held many labels, and I never imagined that I'd end up apprenticing alongside of her, or the depths that would include. And so I'm super grateful and ever so generous to the angel of death for the time that I've had with her, that we've all had with her. So one thing about the Firewalk instructor training is you can tell who's all in heart and soul pretty much on day one. And it's not that everyone isn't in their heart and soul day one. There's just certain people that have a different relationship with the fire, and you can see it right away. And Heather was one of those people. She had a love of the fire that was evident from the start, and not just learning its intricacies as an element of change and rebirth, but also how to hold it gently, to flow with it, and to create a container for it. And as many of you know and have actually experienced and witnessed, Heather also liked to stand in and on the fire. And when life doesn't really do it justice, she loved to do this. She was passionate about it. It fed her soul in a way that nothing else did. And it takes an incredible amount of energy to stand in that fire. And she inspired many of us to do the same for her during a second recovery from surgery she was having. And I know that T and I have talked about this, but she deepened our intimacy with the fire with this act that she did. It's not an act, but just the whole being with the fire and the way that she was, the way that she could stand on it, the way that she could be there. And it was minutes and seconds. And Heather Ash likes to tell a story about a child that did it, and they all did it with her. And for me, that childlike elusiveness of her standing on the fire that Heather Ash tells, and then seeing Heather do it, and then actually seeing that level of joy and playfulness in her when she did it. It's just something that I will forever be changed knowing, and probably will forever do in her memory. So I've read just a little poem that I wrote about her. A soul of fire, an energetic heart of jasper held in citrine, a stalker, a dreamer, a lover, an empath. A human who feared, who gave more than she had to give, who armored her gifts in lapis, who wouldn't let a soul, even one who'd wronged her, transition from this life feeling unloved. Late night wine and soulful talks. Sister, friend, mentor, new adventures and endeavors not seen on this planet's horizon. The soul shared a mere depth, a mere glimpse of her depth. Among the stars, among the planets, among the magic, among the vibrations that give you bliss, sister. Galactic home is where your spirit lives on, but your soul lives on in our hearts and our memories. T and Christy and I had a small beach ceremony that involved a fire and a highly decorated Viking boat of sand and a tide that took it away at dawn. And in our minds, that fire was a mile high. And I imagine many received her in the heavens rejoicing. A shout out to Heather Huffman, who supplied me with some feathers that we used as part of that ceremony. There was hawk for connection to Great Spirit, crow for magic and sacred law, and blue jay for mastery of communication. And I wish all those things for her. And know this, my friend, you are and will always be loved. Fly free, no goodbyes, only until we meet again. There's also a prayer that Heather Huffman supplied me with this beautiful candle that I got me and Marcella to remind us of our dear friend. Our Lady of Roses, please hear my prayer. Fill my heart with your love so that I may bloom and give love and beauty to myself and others. Hold my heart close to yours when the thorns in life hurt me, knowing that everything serves the higher good, always. Keep me steadfast in my faith, always knowing you are with me, guiding me forward with grace and love. Amen. And I hope and pray that she will bless us and be one of our ancestors as we move forward. And I will close with, all we ask of you is forever to remember us as loving you.
Thank you, Mishawn. Thank you so much. Beautiful. There's so many memories around the fire with Heather, and we're going to be doing a slideshow for a moment. So those of you that knew Heather well, or those of you that maybe you've never even met Heather, you're going to see a lot in the photos of her love and her passion. So I want to share. T sent me this to read, and so I'll go ahead and read that. I'm going to miss the way you lit up a room with your smile and sparkling eyes. Your sense of humor was unparalleled. I'll never forget how much fun we all had in the hot tub in Santa Fe after that fabulous fire walk. We laughed for hours over a bottle of wine and everything in the world. Your energy for every living thing was palpable, never wavering. If someone needed you, you were always there to do anything asked. I'll feel you on every fire we ever do, because I know you'll be standing there beside us all. So true. You will be missed. So thanks, T. Okay, now I've forgotten who's next. I think it's Julie. Let me check. Yes. So Julie.
Hello.
Mute you. Hi. Thanks, sweetheart.
Hi. You all are making it tough on me. It's been so sweet so far, hearing everyone else's memories and just sparking so many fun times. And sometimes when people leave us, you grasp on to certain things, and that's all you can remember. And so by all of us sharing together, it helps. It helps bring back all of those wonderful memories. And to be able to hear her laughter. And always remember the sparkle in her eye. That beautiful, beautiful smile. I first met Heather in 2017 in Sedona. And we were in a workshop together. And it was the first time I'd ever walked on fire. And I didn't realize it at the time, but how much I would get to know and grow to love her. And looking back, it was just a magical beginning. And I always remember her being so sweet and caring and loving. And we got to know each other more and became much closer when we did an apprenticeship together. And she was a facilitator. And so we were in facilitator groups and workshops together. And that was when I got to experience her magic. And I'll always remember how much she taught me. I mean, she just knew so much about so many different things. And I remember being like a sponge. I just couldn't, soak it all up quick enough. And she was so inspiring. So those are a few of the things that I will always take with me and take forward. And so many little trinkets I have all over my house that remind me of her. And we always had this magical way of, seemed like we always flew out together when we were leaving our workshops and things, and we either flew in and landed around the same time or flew out. And so it turned out to be some special time for us together to be able to spend more time one-on-one and sharing our experiences. And we talked essential oils all the time, and just shared so much information. And she really took the time to listen to me and go out of her way to share with me. So I'm very, very grateful. One of my fondest memories of her, well, there's so many, but she was always so inclusive. She wanted to make sure that everyone was included and no one felt left out. And she was such an empath, and she always knew, I think, she could pick up on things that people were feeling when you didn't even know what you were feeling. And she was just there in her loving, gentle, kind way. Support. And just to be a special friend. So I have a couple of poems I'd like to read and a couple of things to share. This is a poem by Cassie Mitchell. My dearest Heather, you meant so much to all of us. You were special, and that's no lie. You brightened up the darkest day and the cloudiest sky. Your smile alone warmed hearts. Your laugh was like music to hear. I would give absolutely anything to have you well and standing near. Not a second passes when you're not on our minds. Your love we will never forget. The hurt will ease in time. Many tears have seen and cried. They have all poured out like rain. I know that you are happy. I know that you're happy now and no longer in any pain. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never, ever forget how you made them feel. And that is by Maya Angelou. And that will always and forever remind me of Heather. There couldn't be any words more pure and true, dear friend. You always made everyone around you feel special and included. You were such a great listener, opening your heart, always giving of yourself to everyone around you. You gave acceptance and love and understanding. Some of the things I will miss most about you is your beautiful smile, your soft, gentle voice, and your eloquent, beautiful words. I've learned so much from you. Our paths were meant to cross. You helped me heal in so many ways, just by being you. Give it all to the fire. Those are the words that Heather gave me as I was going off on my firewalk instructor training. I'll never forget those words and the conversation that followed. Because of you, sweet Heather, I laugh a little harder, I cry a little less, and I smile a lot more. You will always be at every single fire with me. Thank you. Thank you always. I love you, sweet sister.
Thank you so much, Julia. So beautiful. Heather's going to be at a lot of firewalks. Thank you. Beaux. You love me. Unmute you.
Hi there. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Ken, Heather, Ash, all of us in the family. One thing I could say is today my heart is your heart. If all the petals and all the flowers in the world were beautiful words to describe Heather, there still wouldn't be enough. She lived through leading by example, and she was not only a great teacher, mentor, she was a friend. And I learned 7 things from just being her friend. 7 little pearls of wisdom or life lessons, if you will. And I learned them just by the actions that she took when something presented itself. The first lesson was speak up. That's why I'm speaking up today. Heather always encouraged me to share my thoughts in our community because I'd call her up after the mentorships and say, and this, and this, and listen to this. Eventually, she got me to share, both in the community, and I started to speak up in my life. It's something I learned, and it changed my life. And I owe that in great part to her patience. The second lesson I've learned by her example was to be light is to be the light. How we deal with that heavier energy and those challenges is everything when we approach life. And I saw her deal with some pretty heavy energy, you know, and she did it in such a way that she always stayed light so she can surmount those obstacles. And that particular lighter energy that she gave off was the beacon for my moving forward in my life and learning how to pass that lightness on down the line. The third lesson was to always share your knowledge. We spent hours on the phone, video texts galore as friends, exchanging all sorts of information about life, about the community, about our particular loves and interests, which of course came around and always back to the love of plants, essences, essential oils, and plant medicine. And in our community, she shared like that in our community also. And she shared our community's teachings in the same way she shared with me in these conversations about plant medicine. It was done freely, and it was done with a passion, and such a passion that I couldn't help but open my heart to what she was saying. And I know that hundreds of you know that, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, even if you met her for a minute. That passion came right on through. The fourth lesson that I've learned from her was to sit and listen. There was always room in her heart to sit and listen. Sometimes it was all I needed, and I've come to realize that sometimes that's what we all need. She sat and listened. She stayed in touch during some tough times for me, and it was her light energy that always brought me through. The other thing I think we all know about Heather is, you know, in her way, she taught me to revisit and again to take specific time to sit with nature. I don't know how many prayer circles we'd hear the ducks quacking in the background, or how many conversations I had with her about herbs or flowers or the ducklings or dragonflies. You know, we talked about all of that, and she always recognized the tiniest of the miracles and the beautiful things on Mother Earth. It drove me closer to her. She reminded me that of all those kind of beautiful things that surround us and why it's important to ground through Mother Earth. And she reminded me and taught me rituals to honor our great mother. And I'm really grateful for that. I've created a little sacred space in my backyard area that I go and I sit there and I talk to Heather because I know she's there. And it's at the edge of the forest, right outside by a tree. And I've noticed that all the wild animals that make their way through and back to the forest seem to quietly walk past. And to me, it's like they're paying tribute and thanks for how much love she had for all living beings. Play and laugh, and we did plenty of that. Life is an adventure if you make it one. And whether we were searching for a late night cafe in New York City or whipping up an event together, she kept it light. She made it a journey for everything. Sometimes journeying, like Deirdre said, across town to bring all our stuff over, coming in like the A-team. I was really proud to be what I called her feet on the ground. She kept it all light, and when we couldn't find things or things would go wrong, she reminded us it was going to be a chapter in one of our adventures. And in general, when life had plot twists thrown our way, or scattered bloopers across the road just to make it fun, she always would remind me that, hey, we're making memories. And today we know all those memories are priceless. So I'm grateful that I had time to spend with her as a friend, as her student, in crazy stuff, in serious stuff, in the medicine that we both studied. Probably the most important lesson of all that she taught me was share your love. Heather taught me to share my love a little bit more, and believe me, it was hard until she came into my life and spent time with me and showed me what her love was about. And her love, you know, she taught me so much by sharing her unconditional love with me. She listened to me, she taught me, she learned from me. She held my container when I needed it, and I learned to hold hers. We laughed together and we cried together. But most importantly, Heather taught me to share my love through her own vulnerability. We all know what I mean. She was just so open-hearted. She opened herself up to all sorts of possibilities, to all sorts of love, to all sorts of challenges. Sometimes the end result wasn't great and it was hard. She realized that, but she taught me to love through her own vulnerability. And bottom line is, Heather wanted me to become a better human. She wants me, who she was makes me want to be a better human. I'm going to carry that with me. And I'm going to pass on what I can say to others and what I keep through these little tiny lessons, these pearls of wisdom. Heather I miss your earthly form, but I know you're here. Like we say in production, I'll be your feet on the ground. And now you're my wings. Infinite love. Thank you.
Thank you, Beaux. Such a beautiful tribute and love of Heather. Thank you so much for your sharing. And it made me think, as you were talking about, one of the last conversations I had with Heather was her trying to figure out how to move the rats that had moved into the house out of the house with love. Did you have that conversation with her too? How to very carefully, lovingly move the rats out. And I was like, oh God, that's going to be a trick because they don't really listen, those people. But she was so dedicated to every form of life. Every form of life. Yeah, thank you. Marcella. Oh, and I want to, well, I'll share. One more thing. I just don't want to forget some of the tidbits. Marcella.
Yes. Hello. Oh my God, what can I say about Heather? We were, okay, I will share a little story of how we met. We were at the Firewalk Instructors, the certification workshop in Teotihuacan. And we were coming back from the pyramids, and there were all these vendors. And we both, there was a group of us, and but we both walked towards this beautiful piece here. And I was quicker, and I bought it. I didn't even like negotiate the price. I was like, I want it. So I got it. And I remember she turned into me with a face because I kind of snatched it before she did. And she looked at me and said, wow, I really admire how quick and decisive you are. And you know, it struck me because she really wanted this piece. And so I went to my room, and every day I will think about it, and I will see her around, and I will see her and go, oh my God, you know, should I give it to her? You know, because we kind of clicked after this. We will sit together in the circle, always together. I was perusing through the pictures, and every workshop or retreat, we ended up it was the default, we will room together. So we share a lot of intimate moments and great conversations, and just the nitty gritty of how we did our hair. And, you know, we became very good friends. So at the end of that retreat, when I got this beautiful piece, I was determined to find it. So every time I went to the pyramids, I would look for it. And the last day I found one, and I bought it for her. And she did not expect that. You know, she was like, I mean, she said like, no. She thought that it was mine. And I said, no, I got mine. I just got this one for you. So I guess after that, well, then on that trip, she also gave me this little present that I have in my altar now. I mean, she spent time in my house. She met my daughters. I can remember her laughter all the time. We laughed a lot. We loved the fire. We experienced some deep healing together. But one thing it really comes to me right now about her is how she was my personal cheerleader. There was nothing I will do wrong. Even if it was a little, you know, it was a little bald or something, she will always be, you know, that person behind me and we will like talk about these things, and sometimes we triggered each other, but it was always in a way that made us grow more intimate and together. We had a period of time when her mother was sick and I was going through my divorce. And she was more supportive of me than I was of her. I was in deep, deep, deep pain and going through a lot. And I felt, and I think she felt it too. But you know, we had a moment or a few months of disconnection. And before she passed, I had the opportunity to video call with her for a long time. And we talked about everything. And I could see her light so much that, you know, passing was a big, she had a big chance and we knew it. And she was in such a good place at the time. She knew what she wanted. She knew what she was going through. She owned it, and we were able to come into peace and to have that, you know, close moment of, okay, I wasn't there for you at the time, and it was such a beautiful connection at that time that I will never forget. We had a favorite song called Titanium from Sia, and we will jump together singing, you shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. We will blast that song because we share a lot of time, leisure time. I will miss her a lot. The conversations, the magic, the beauty. What I have behind me, it's she was into that training also. She was going to become a color woman. We share a lot of things, a lot of common interests. And with that, I want to dedicate a poem to my dear friend, sister of the heart, best confidant, awesome roommate, and my personal cheerleader. Though we need to weep your loss, you dwell in that safe place in our hearts, where no storm or night or pain can reach you. Your love was like the dawn, brightening over our lives, awakening beneath the dark, a farther adventure of color. The sound of your voice found for us a new music that brightened everything. Wherever you unfolded in your gaze, quickened in the joy of its being, you placed smiles like flowers on the altar of the heart. Your mind always sparkled with wonder at things. Though your days here were brief, your spirit was alive, awake, complete. We look toward each other no longer from the old distance of our names. Now you dwell inside the rhythm of breath, as close to us as we are to ourselves. Though we cannot see you with outward eyes, we know our soul's gaze is upon your face, smiling back at us from within everything to which we bring our best refinement. Let us not look for you only in memory, where we will grow lonely without you. You will want us to find you in presence, beside us when beauty brightens, when kindness glows, and music echoes eternal tones. When orchids brighten the earth, darkest winter has turned to spring. May this dark grief flower with hope in every heart that loves you. May you continue to inspire us to enter each day with a generous heart, to serve the call of courage and love, until we see your beautiful face again in that land where there is no more separation, where all tears will be wiped from our mind, and where we will never lose you again. So our last words or our last wishes together were to go to Teotihuacan and climb the pyramids together. So I promise my sister to do that next time it's possible and climb that pyramid with you. I love you.
Thank you, Marcela. So beautiful. Thank you. Ken, I bring you in. Hey, love. Hmm.
Rough day.
Yeah. Understatement. I woke up this morning going, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Sarina asked me, she asked me the other day, she says, we're going to have a memorial. She says, do you think you want to speak? I'm like, well, I want to. I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
You know, well, sure, I want to. I feel like, I know we all do. Like I just got off the roller coaster, you know, and I'm like, man, that was rough ride.
Yeah.
And just as I go to get out of the car, it starts up again. You know, so
yeah.
Anyway, I gotta tell you, I am so grateful for all her sisters. Yeah. I've got some regrets about, you know, like we all do when things go this way. I just want another moment with her. Give anything for that. And so you look back and you say, oh man, it feels like I wasted so much time. So I have regrets about some of that stuff. And I know that that doesn't define what we had. But there are certain things I don't regret. And one of them is always supporting her anytime she wanted to go anywhere or do anything like this. All the warrior goddess stuff she did, always was so grateful that she had all of you seeing what I saw in her all the time, but not everybody did in her life, in her we'll call it family of origin, whatever you want to call it. But I knew that she found out with all of you, and the more I got to meet some of you, and we got to interact, the more I realized what a treasure it was in her life. And that made me feel so good to know that she got to feel that unconditional love that she didn't feel from her family. That she just got to know that. So she was so, and all of you have said, you know, how amazing she was to you. And she was. And she just always led with love, no matter what. Like you said, she didn't want to hurt any living creature. She'd carry stink bugs outside, you know. And I love that about her. And she just always led with love. She always had that desire to do the right thing. She never wanted anybody to feel the way she felt when she was young, the way, you know, the struggles that she went through. She didn't want anybody else to feel that. And she could, when you said that, one of you said how she was such an empath, and that was true. She could sense when somebody was in a bad place. She was so gifted that way, just so amazing. I can't believe that I'm here, that we're all here in this spot right now, grieving her and celebrating her at the same time. She was so amazing. So amazing. I count myself so lucky. I was so sad when she was gone, when I knew she had to go. And she tried so hard to stay, so hard. I was with her at the end, and it was just so... She'd been through so much. So horrible. And I couldn't do anything about it. And I tried, but it just wasn't enough. But she struggled. She tried to stay. She really tried for all of us. But I know, I know that spirits always knows better what's best for each of us. And I feel like if she had been able to stay and she wasn't able to be herself, that smile that lit up the room, those eyes that sparkled like jewels, and that love that she always led with, always embraced everybody with. That if she couldn't live like that, it wouldn't be living. I didn't want her to be that way. But she hung on, and at the end, you know, I told her it was okay to go. It was so hard. She was just a magic in my life. I mean, just a magic. That girl had just a spark in her that I saw the moment I met her. The moment I met her, in a nightclub, and my goofball buddy pushed me into her to coat check line. It was cold. Everybody's getting her coats, and the lights come on. Everybody leaves the club before the lights come on, right? And he pumps me into her, and I go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I got bumped into you." I mean, and she turned around, and she said, "Oh, that's okay, no problem," like that. And I was like, "You're not from around here, are you?" And she turned around, and she goes, "Well, why do you say that?" And I said, "You're way too friendly to be from Pittsburgh." And she says, "Well, I'm from Moon." And I said, "Did you say you're from the Moon?" She says, "No, silly, Moon Township." I said, oh, up at the airport. She goes, "Yeah." But there was an undeniable spark. The moment I met her, I was just like, I'm not letting this one get away. I said, I don't know what your friend's doing, what you and your friends are doing. Me and my buddy's going to go get a cup of coffee, you know, if you'd like to join us. And so, long story short, we ended up going to the place around the corner and having a cup of coffee. And my buddy, I went to the men's room. When I come back, he's got his arm draped around her. I'm like, what the hell? So we're hanging out for 20 minutes or whatever, and they get up and they leave. And we're walking out, and I said to my buddy, hey, what's up with the blonde? He's, I don't like her. I don't like her. I said, well, I do. And I was mad because I didn't get her number. I thought I might never see her again. And I said, I'm going out tomorrow night. I don't care. I'm going back to the same clubs, whatever it takes. Man, there's something about this girl. There's something about her. And the next night, I made the same circuit, and I went back to that club, and there she was. And I saw her across the dance floor, and I made a beeline right across there. Long story short, we had our first dance that night. Everybody's looking at us like, hey, get a room. And I got her number, and I called her, and she was sick for 6 weeks or whatever it was. And one night out of the blue, she calls me. She says, hey, what are you doing? I go, nothing. I didn't think I was going to hear from you again. She says, oh, I was sick. She says, you want to get together? I said, you're aware it's Christmas Eve, right? And she goes, yeah, I know. She says, well, do you want to get together or not? I'm like, yeah, okay. And that was our first date. We met for a drink, and then we went to see a chick flick. And every Christmas Eve after that, for 20 years, that was our night. That was our first date night. And we would go see a chick flick somewhere. And I'm really going to miss that. She made the smallest things seem so special. She just had that gift. And the things I've learned from her through the years, through all the struggles we went through, we had similar, we'd both been married twice before. We both had all these disappointments and struggles with our families. We had so many things in common. And we were just so glad that we'd found each other. And it wasn't always smooth. But we always knew it was forever. It was however long forever was. And I always said, anytime I talked about her, I always said, she just has a heart of gold. She just does. It's such a rare thing. And she just made me a better man. I learned so much being with her and watching how she interacted with other people. She'd have something going on in her life, maybe some issue with her sisters in the Warrior Goddess. She'd have some issue, and she'd be talking to me about it, some thing, not in detail, but just, give me the highlights. And I'd be like, oh, well, you should probably blah, 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 whatever, I'd have some answer. Like I knew something, right? And she'd say, well, I think maybe I should do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. And when she'd get done, I'd be like, yeah, do that, do that. Because that seems really, really smart. That's so way better than what I would have done. And as long as I knew her, she was always doing that. She was always doing the right thing by everybody all the time. Always led with her heart, always putting other people first. She had true compassion and love. And you can just see it all the time. She was such a gift. there's just so many things about her, so many stories. Her, when she was in the hospital, those 6 weeks, things that happened to her, some of you know details, they were horrendous. And that was killing me the whole time, watching her go through it, feeling helpless. And I know through this whole thing, we both had all our lessons we were learning. But she held herself with grace through it all. I mean, it was incredible. She'd say, I'm really trying to hold some grace here and trying to, hold some dignity and not lash out at people. She says, but right now I feel like throwing stuff across the room. I said, don't worry, I'll bring in a stack of dishes. You can just start tossing. The way she was able to hold her grace and dignity through that whole thing and be kind to people, I don't know if I could have done it. And the courage that she showed, I can't even imagine having one open heart surgery. That was her third one. She was just a force of nature. And I'm so grateful that I had those 20 years with her. So grateful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd give anything to have one more day with her. Just one. Those 20 years were, it was a lifetime's worth. It really was. I'm just, some of the things that she said, her voice was so tender at one point. Her voice was kind of weak because of what was going on. And she said she was laying there after a really horrendous thing where she was just agony, and I don't even remember what they were doing to her. It was just terrible. And she was laying there, and she's just like spent. I'm like, you okay? You okay? And she looks up at me, and she kind of has half a smile on her face. She goes, I want a kitty. And I said, what'd you say? She said, I want a kitty. One of our cats had just died, and she was really close to him. And I said, I'm pretty sure you're talking a live kitty, not a stuffed one, right? She goes, yep. And I said, well, you get out of this bed and you get better, and I'll take you down to Humane Society and we will clean that place out. And I'll get you all the kitties you want if you just come home. Sometimes she'd call in the middle of the night and say she just wanted to come home. Just wanted to come home when I come get her. And if I didn't come get her, she was going to call an Uber. Oh. Boy, I really wanted to go get her. I really did. But I know how bad she wanted to come home. And now she is home now. And when we said goodbye that last night, she was like, that soft little voice, she says, I kissed her and told her how much I loved her. And she says, well, goodbye. I said, no, don't say goodbye. Just say that we see each other again. Because I'll be waiting for you when you get out of surgery. So I'm just waiting till we see each other again. And I just want to thank all of you so much. Sarina, HeatherAsh, each and every one of you, for being her friend, for loving her back the way she loved all of you. She really needed you. I tried to be her cheerleader because sometimes she couldn't see how magical she was. Just the way she would be your cheerleader. And I'm so glad she got that love from you guys as well. And thank you for embracing me through all of this. I love you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, sweetheart, so much for sharing a little bit of the stories of her and your love. And I saw when you sent me the photo of you and her at your wedding, I cried so hard because
me too. She's so happy there. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, I wish I could have been there. Like that was my regret, is I wish I could have known you all way longer than I did. And I'm so grateful I had the time with both of you. And just know, Ken, we're here for you.
I know.
Just like we're here for Heather. We'll be here for you always. And you're probably going to have like 20 of us going, all right, we're watching the chick flick on the 24th. Are you ready? So
yeah, I'm ready. I'll do that. Absolutely.
Love you, sweetheart.
Yeah, Ladies' choice, of course.
Yes, exactly.
She's always like, what do you want to watch? I'm like, don't be ridiculous. It's your choice. Come on.
Your choice. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing just your heart and your tenderness. And we feel you. We're with you.
Thank you for making this happen. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Tara, sweetheart. Wait, you have to unmute yourself, love.
Okay, there we are.
There you go.
Thank you. So I'm going to start out. I have a couple of warrior goddesses in our community that sent me a few things to read on their behalf. And I want to start out with sharing those. So the first one actually sent in. I'm going to share this here as I read what they wrote. There we go. 1 second. And that's from Diva. And the other one is from Madrone. Sweet and courageous superior warrior Heather, my grief is praise for your beautiful life lived. I am sending you all my love and gratitude for the magic, with a K, you shared with me and so many others. When we met in 2018 at Venus Rising's ship, set in the beautiful hills of the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, you made me feel so welcomed, calming my nerves. We shared some magical ceremonial moments together. And then I was so fortunate to be in so many warrior goddess circles with you and Heather Ash's tribe during the past few months. Thank you for your wisdom and sharing. I am honored to count you among my ancestors now, the beloved dead. Blessed be my sister friend. You are missed but forever remembered. I offer you this blessing by Starhawk. Be free, be strong, be proud of who you have been. Know that you will be mourned and missed, and that no one can replace you, that you have loved and are beloved. Move beyond form, flowing like water, feeding on sunlight and moonlight, radiant as the stars in the night sky. Pass the gates, enter the dark without fear, returning to the womb of life to steep in the cauldron of rebirth. Rest, heal, grow young again, be blessed. Love you, Madrone. There's a few words that come up, immediately pop into my thoughts when I think of dear sweet sister Heather. And the first word that comes up is courage. And many have shared today about courage that she had and just how, I'm not even sure the word, but just how brave she was. And in so many ways, in ways that were quiet, that no one really even noticed. And were ways that were big and, caught our attention. And yet with her, it always seemed just so natural and just so sweet, powerful, and just, amazing in this sweetest, most loving, and most gentle package, even when she was being incredibly fierce. She taught me so much about courage and about being brave. She taught me to find places in myself that I didn't know were possible. She showed me how to believe in myself. With so much grace, she did it. Mishawn shared earlier about her standing in the fire and when inspired by her and holding her energy, she showed me that it was okay to try and to do. And that changed my life. Changed my life forever. Another word that comes up is sweetness. And she would hold my hand and remind me that she was there for me and I could have trust and faith in her. She was one of those people that we find you find in your lifetime that you can trust with the hard things that I was able to trust, and she didn't judge me. And I knew what I told her was honored and safe and sacred. And and she was generous. They're so generous. She would give you everything she had without even thinking about it. You need something? Here you go. This would help you? Here you go. Without even a thought. Yeah. I will miss her very, very much. and we'll hang out and chat. Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop talking now, and share. One second. Okay.
Facebook changed the. I just have to trust. So anyway, Heather Lorah here for Monday Night Prayer Circle.
How are all of you beautiful ladies doing? We need the medicine of sisterhood. We need us to be willing to be the shining one, to heal the ancestral line, heal the wounds of the women that have walked before us and those that will walk after us. And we are more powerful together than alone. Thank you all so much for joining me and helping to create and to build this energy. Take good care of yourselves. My deepest, deepest gratitude to each of you. I'm sending you all sweet, sweet sisterly love.
Thank you, sweetheart. That was amazing. Thank you so much. So we'll share the slideshow again with all the sound. It took us a minute to figure it out. So thanks, sweetheart. So I want to share a photo from the memorial that we've created up on the land for Heather, and to do just a visualization with her So let me see if I can do this, if I can do any of the tech right now. Hopefully you can see that. So I decorated that this morning while the sun was rising. And thought of her, of course. I was definitely guided by her in many ways. So if everyone can close your eyes and put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, and just take a breath and let yourself really feel whatever tears, whatever gratitude, whatever love. And as we honor Heather, knowing that she's always with us, and knowing how much she loved one of the greatest gifts is that she also knew how much she was loved. And so let's imagine ourselves together someplace beautiful out in nature. And that we're holding hands in a circle. And that Heather's with us in that circle as well. Smiling, giggling with us. And let yourself stretch to take in more love and to feel the loss and to let the grief hollow you out so that you can love more. I'm going to share a closing poem. Life will break you. Nobody can protect you from that. And living alone won't either, for solitude will also break you with its yearning. You have to love. You have to feel. It is a reason you are here on earth. You are here to risk your heart. You are here to be swallowed up. And when it happens that you are broken or betrayed or left or hurt or death brushes near, let yourself sit by an apple tree and listen to the apples falling all around you in heaps, wasting their sweetness. Tell yourself you tasted as many as you could. So may all of us, in honor of Heather, keep loving fiercely. Keep loving each other. Learn how to bring that same love that she brought to so many. And make sure that with every conversation you have, that you share your gratitude and your love, because we never know when the angel of death will visit. To taste as many of the gifts of life as we can. And to let Heather be a reminder for us to create beauty, to show up with love, to have hard conversations, to laugh. We're so blessed that we have so many videos of her and pictures to share. So we'll be sharing those more as well. And I'm gonna invite just everyone. We're all crying, so I'll bring all of us on. Let me see if I can. add everybody back to the stream. So I want to thank each of you for sharing and bringing your stories about Heather, and there'll be more. We were going to have an hour-long Zoom call after this just to share stories, but should we still do it or should we postpone it? Postpone? Because I can share the link, or shall we wait? All right, I'm going to share the link and then we can pop onto Zoom for whoever wants to come over there. So there's a Zoom link for our wake that we're going to do now. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and for all the blessings of this community, for how we're willing to love. I really want to thank everybody for that. And may we all grieve well and keep grieving well and make more space for more love. Thanks for everyone that's joined us, and blessings to each of you. There again, the link for the Zoom, if anybody wants to pop over there. We'll finish up doing our wake and love there. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.